Okay, so good morning, all of you. So now we have reached to module number 5. So module number 5. Okay, so module 4 we have discussed about another two forms of IP, although you can consider one form of IP, that is copyrights, and also you have discussed about another part, that is utility model. So as you know the different forms of IP, and we have been trying to cover all the different forms of IPs in different modules, maybe in a single module or in a module overlapping module, just like say patent we covered in 2 modules, copyright in 1 module. So now in module 5 we will discussed about another 2 forms of IP, that is industrial design ID and trademark. Okay, another 2 forms of IP we will try to discussed in this module. Okay, so let's now start with reference to industrial design. Okay, that with the industrial design. Okay, so when we discussed about copyright in last module, or you remember the last class, copyright and digital medium, you have learned about the importance of the copyrights and what is the challenge the copyright is have been facing in respect of digital context. The digital context means along with cyber space, sometimes we call it virtual space. Okay, so now we discussed about another form of IP, the industrial design. Okay, so when we discussed about different forms of IP, I have given you an idea about industrial design, and I told that industrial design protect shape, configuration, ornamentation of an article, and that increase the aesthetic value of the article. Okay, so now I last class when we were discussing about the copyright, I told the exclusive right of the copyright owner includes right to adaptation in conversion of the 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, or conversion of dramatic to cinematographic film. So now considering a situation that let's say you have say somebody have this is actually a case, major versus tense case. Somebody have a statue called a statue representing a male and female dancing figures. Okay, so now if you convert that statue in the form of an article, let's say table lamp, and you are selling the table lamp, you are not selling the statue, you are selling the table lamp, and table lamp have been giving aesthetic look. Maybe aesthetic look has come from that statue of, let's say, Liberty statue of male and female dancing figures. So now who is the owner of copyright with reference to the statue, whether who will able to enforce his right in respect of that table lamp? Okay, so whether table lamp is a separate creation. Okay, so table lamp aesthetic beauty have been enhanced because of the male and female dancing figure he is representing in that article. Okay, so understood that. Okay, and table lamp having major utility because it is useful article. Okay, and statue per se is not useful article. Okay, statue definitely giving some sorts of some sorts of artistic looks about the statue, but it is not per se useful article. Okay, so this is the situation. So that copyright owner is not really able to enforce his right when somebody convert his copyrighted work in the form of an article like a label lamp or just like Qutub Minar is converted into pen, or Taj Mahal is converted into a table lamp or some paperweight. So, definitely this, by virtue of that, we are somehow enhancing the value of those article, okay, and the person is incorporating those features in those article, and by virtue of that they are enhancing the aesthetic value of those article. Okay. So, now situation arises that copyright owner is really not able to enforce his right in those kinds of creations. Okay. And another part, those types of creation has also having some value, because copyright sometimes copyright doctrine suggested it is not applicable for useful article. Okay. So, the situation is coming up. What situation is coming up? That we may consider a creation to enhance the value, creation to enhance the value of article. Okay. And copyright owner is not able to enforce his right. Copyright owner is not really, I can really enforced his right. Okay. Right. Another situation may come that if you consider the aesthetic value of those article and their aesthetic value, the value of the aesthetic look of an article is also very short time. Okay. And another part, in copyright period, copyright protection is longer. Copyright is protected for life plus say 60 years in respect of artistic work. Okay. So, these sorts of points, the creation to enhance the value of an article, copyright owner is not really able to enforce his right, short time of protection, copyright period is longer. So, all those kinds of situation lead to creation or formulation of another forms of IP, that is called industrial design, and the right provided is industrial design copyright. Okay. So, now why separate copyright copyright is required for industrial design, you understood. Okay. One is enforcement, another is for further creation, and another is copyright period protection is longer, another is that copyright say is not applicable for utilitarian object, an article having the utility just like table lamp and others. So, all those things are promote or to create within the copyright part, to create copyright part another form of copyright called industrial design copyright. Okay. So, so why industrial design copyright, you understood. Need of industrial design, whatever I pointed out here, the need of industrial design. So, we understood that why industrial design is required to create to give some sorts of incentive to those people who is adding some value to the article. Okay. And so article, so okay, that if article by means of some aesthetic look, and if I try to protect those by copyright law, and copyright owners may be really not able to enforce his right, and also copyright doctrine suggested is not applicable for utilitarian object or article having some purpose. So, that that is the cause for industrial design, and you understand that industrial design, and if I want to compare with reference to the patent, you do not require much investment. Okay. And so, and life of the industrial design is also shorter compared to the life of the patent. So, we understood this can be also last when we discussed about the utility model, this similarly it can be also a useful business tool for SMEs, just like say if I remember, let us say somebody have come up with the televisions, and the functionality of the television, all sorts of things. He invested a huge amount of money, he patented the technology, all sorts of things. Now you are thinking about that television will come in the form of a tangible object, television. So how can you be involved in the value chains of that article? You can really be involved in the value chain of the article by giving an say beautiful shape and configuration of the televisions. By virtue of that, customers will be attracted to procure that article. Just like say sometime Times magazine suggested, if two article or two object having the same functionality, then the article which having higher aesthetic value will be having advantage compared to the article having lower aesthetic value. So there lies the understanding, the balance will be on the side of the industrial design. So industrial design, if gives some aesthetic look for an article having the same functionality, just like I told, table lamp or toys and or card. So then people will be attracted having the article having the higher aesthetic value. So there lies the importance of industrial design. Okay. So just like say how you are as an engineer and technologist, you may consider that okay, that I don't have to, this is the jobs of say let's say not our, not let's say others people, just like say designer. So although a designer, like say other courses, fashion design and other kinds of elements, but not like that. Just like say, you know that for design patent battle between Apple versus Samsung, the design patent battle across the jurisdictions. So they were simply fighting with reference to the design patents of a touch screen in different jurisdictions. So understood the value of the design patents based on those cases also. Okay. So although much intellectual involvement and not much chemistry, physics involved, but also you can be a good entrepreneurs with little investment. With if you open your eyes with a new idea and incorporate incorporate a new look on an article. Okay. So that way you cannot deny the importance of industrial design for specifically the engineers and technologists, although no technology, no engineering involved, but you cannot deny the importance of it. Okay. So now say why it is important. I have shown that, let's say this bike, car, spring and these textiles. Okay. So different class of article having the different aesthetic look, and people attract and procure those articles for that aesthetic looks. Okay. Now let's come on intricacies of the industrial design. Okay. Just like say, if you read design protection obtained for any new or original shape, configuration, surface ornamentation, color combination applied industrially to an article, and thereby the finished article would be appealing to eye. Got the thing? Okay. Just like say the bike shape and configuration. If shape and configuration, by virtue of that, the eye appealing character of the bike increases, then that will be the industrial design features of the bike. Not the functional features of the bike, but the aesthetic look of the bike by virtue of shape, configuration or ornamentation, that will come within the purview of industrial design. The functional features already be protected by virtue of invention, that is by virtue of patent. In other jurisdiction, maybe by innovation patent or utility model protection. Okay. So now the shape configuration of this bike, see that shape configuration of this bike will be the intellectual property, that is industrial design. Okay. Similarly, the car, but the spring, see that spring, the shape configuration per se is giving some sorts of functional features. Okay. So, the functional features will not come within the purview of industrial design. Okay. So, in respect of spring, you may consider the surface ornamentation part, but the shape and configuration of the spring does not providing your eye appealing feature, but it is providing the functional feature. So, it will not come within the purview of industrial design. Okay. But if we consider ornamentation part per se is not providing any functionality, that ornamentation or surface ornamentation by means of some means of some say contours or some pattern that is also giving some aesthetic look, then that may come within the purview of industrial design, not the shape and configuration. Similarly, let us say these are all 3-dimensional object, but in a textile it is 2-dimensional. Okay. In that textile, you know that huge business, that aesthetic look is the more attractive features for textiles. Okay. Just like say people procure and purchase textiles item including shirt and other part for the aesthetic looks. See the aesthetic looks of that these textiles items. Okay. So, these are the different elements that will come within the purview of industrial designs. Okay. So, you got little bit idea about that industrial design. So, now I already referred the protection mechanism for industrial design. So, just like in India registered design right, maybe by copyright also, that is different part I will discuss. Just like some design if you not producing 50 times and more, then till copyright may be subsist. The act suggested some design if you implemented in an article you are not producing more than 50 times, then copyright till subsist. There lies the issues between the intermingle between the industrial design copyright and copyright in copyright, just like that part more legal in compared to technical. Then UK it is protected by registered design right, unregistered, because there also unregistered design rights exist. US they call it design patent, design patents. Okay. So, the period of protection in India for registered design rights is 10 plus 5. It is really initially for 10 years. It may be extended for another 5 years. So, this 10 plus 5 years. Okay. So, exclusive right with reference to design in the form of a copyright will be available for 10 years, and that can be extended for another 5 years. US also they protect by they told its design patent. By virtue of that, they don't enlarge the scope of protection. They also protect by virtue of design patent the same features whatever we protect by means of registered design right, means shape, configuration, ornamentation or surface pattern of an article. What the thing? So, registered design rights in India. Okay. How long? 10 plus 5, 15 years. Okay. So, UK, so comparative part also we are getting an idea. In other jurisdiction also, just like Australia, Canada, also India, Australia specifically industrial design rights. Okay. So, that why protection, why not copyright, what are the protection mechanism available, and how long the protection mechanism has been provided in specifically to India, and also US also this is for 10 years. Okay. And for unregistered design right, definitely there is no specific period of protections because no statutory right this one. Okay. So, that part the within the purview of UK. So, in India we do not have any unregistered design rights. Okay. So, protection of design by virtue of registered design rights. So, now let us go in depth a little bit on legal part of industrial designs. Okay. So, now just like so when I discussed about that patent and invention, the definition of invention we have discussed legal with the context of legal context, because better to learn what is the definition. The law have been means the statute have been provided. So, similarly here say design they have considering the means only features sorry features of shape, configuration, pattern, ornament applied to an article by an industrial process or means by an industrial process or means just like say shape configuration, that bike shape configuration. Patterns means like surface pattern. Ornamentation means also that surface ornamentation. Applied to an article means the on that bike by an industrial process. Definitely that when those shape and configuration they were applying to that bike, definitely they are producing those things in an industry's process. Or means whether manual, mechanical or chemical, separate or combined. The industrial process part may be done by manual, just like cottage industries, just like say potteries industries manually. Mechanical, understanding the mechanical by using mechanical means. Chemical means surface ornamentation can be applied on an article by chemical means. Separate means you can apply all those tools for industrial process separately, just like a color, you know that car industry. Surface ornamentation, mechanical part they are doing in one unit, then later on surface ornamentation part maybe they are providing, or color combination or they are providing in another unit. So, by they are using maybe by chemicals process. So, ultimately that surface ornamentation shape and configuration part is a design feature that is coming by means of mechanical and chemical means. Understood that? Okay. So, just like say as an engineer, why not your role is to be denied if by that as a mechanical means, what type of mechanical means will you adopt to give an unique shapes, although that unique shapes, then there you may thought about that. Okay. Just like a nano car, you know that. So, chemical, separate or combined, which is in the finished article appeal to and judged solely by by eye. Okay. That the finished article you should not consider other elements just like a technical features or functional features, but those article solely judged by eye, those features solely judged by eye or eye appealing features will come within the purview of industrial design. So, but say limit that but include but appeal, but does not include any mode or principle of construction. Okay, just like say consider sometime I give the example just like heaters, and the principle of construction suggested you should make it like this way. Spring principle of construction suggested you will do that on the like this way. Chair, you understood there always that nut and bolt and others say bolting devices, joining devices you have to use. So, that those are the mode or principle of construction. So, those features are not design features. Understood? Just like say in this chair wherever I am sitting, you see the lots of joints are available, lots of fastening devices are available. Those by virtue that by so the construction features of the chair suggested that you have to adopt those kinds of means. So, those are not the design features and does not include a trademark. Later on we discussed about that. The trademarks just like say logos. You are considering you are putting a logo on that chair, you are telling that the logo is providing some sorts of aesthetic look to that article. That logo part will not come within the purview of industrial design. Okay. So, logo of that logo incorporated on that article for purchasing. So, people have to make a procurement decision. So, that part will not come within the purview of industrial design, that will come under the another form of IP, that is called trademark. So, okay. So, now you understood, now you are able to distinguish what do you mean by industrial design, design specifically. Okay. So, now another parameters you should remember here. So, I told when you discuss the table lamp part, so always told that a design should be applied to an article. Okay. That articles have some purpose. The jurisprudence suggested that article means article should have some purpose. Although in Indian context we do not apply the article definition, in Indian context we apply means an article of manufacturers and any substrate artificial or partly artificial and partly natural, and include any part of an article capable of being made and sold separately. This part you should remember. An article which can be made and sold separately that can be manufactured by manufacturer or may artificial or partly artificial and partly natural, just like say rock. Sometime I give the example rock by based of sand erosions or based on natural erosions, that a beautiful article in the form of paperweight has been coming up. Whether that can be considered as an article, okay, definitely paperweight is an article, but the pattern or ornamentation of that paperweight have been developed by partly natural means that sand erosion, and later on you may use some manual labors to incorporate that features further. So, that way, that so and that way that it should be made and sold separately. So that way, if I consider this chair is an article, but if I consider the house, okay, the house is not an article, no, but house if I convert into the paper weight, let us say some nice way, let us say if I consider your school, let us say your college building, your college building you are converting in the form of an article, that article is a paperweight or table lamp, then this can be sold in the form of made and sold in the form of a table lamp, not in the form of that house. So house cannot be made and sold separately, means transferable. One person cannot say that okay, I am transferring my school building to you physically. Maybe by means can transfer by means of instrument of law, by sale deed or assignment deed, not physically. Okay, so like Obama, when he is visiting India, he will not come with that White House to India. Understood? White House will always remains in USA. So they understood that okay, that what White House shape a table lamp or White House shape paperweight. Understood? No problem. Nobody can deny to get a industrial design rights over all those kinds of elements. Okay. So this is the one part of industrial design and its intricacies. So let's summarize the points we discussed, and that we discussed about why industrial design. Okay, what is the importance of industrial design? If I ask you what is the importance of industrial design in present business context, specifically for a small entrepreneur or SMEs, yeah, definitely it is really important. Okay. Then if I asked why separate say intellectual property forms for industrial design, okay, you have answer regarding that also. So now what is design per se? I think you have answered on that also, and how you can also be value adder in the value chain of an article, even be an engineer and technologist. That part also you understood, just like say given the example of car, given the example of even the spring that manufactures in a mechanical ways, but you provide a surface ornamentation on that spring. By virtue of that, is aesthetic value increases, that lead to the value addition of that articles called spring, and you will be the value adders with reference to that spring, and definitely you will get some return on investment by virtue of industrial design rights or industrial design copyrights. Means the right for the industrial design we call industrial design copyrights, means you can only produce the article with that shape and configuration, but if anyone want to say copy that shape and configuration that is providing the aesthetic features to that article, he is be considered is infringing your rights. So nice way if you can give a beautiful shape of a car, and that by virtue of that the aesthetic value of that car have been increasing, and then you can go to the car company and really assign or license your industrial design right to the car company. Similarly, you consider the textile industries, and you know that in fashion design industry specifically what is the value of that different types of fashion design components. Okay. So so that way that industrial design part also is also an important intellectual property rights. Okay. So just like say as we are not going in details of the statute, but we are just giving an overview of the different forms of IP. Within that also we are touching few elements of the law, but we try to interpret the law more lucid way to understood a technical or engineering students. Okay. So now I think I have able to give you the idea on basics of industrial design. So I am ending the class here, but subsequently we will discuss about others important parameters of industrial design.